Hello and welcome to this Come to Jesus Daily Devotional. If you find this helpful, please do share it with someone else. Currently we're in the book of Jonah. Today's meditation is entitled 40 More Days. Let's now read from Jonah 3 verse 4. Jonah began by going a day's journey into the city proclaiming, 40 more days and Nineveh will be overthrown. In summary, God's wrath, his anger at what is sinful and love for what is good is a part of his goodness. God's wrath, his anger at what is sinful and love for what is good is a part of his goodness. Jonah went to Nineveh with a message of divine judgment. This is a message from God. He's commanded to take to Nineveh the message that I give to you. A message from God, and it was about divine judgment. The Bible makes it clear that God is a judge. He judges sin. Now, many avoid speaking about this attribute of God. If we were to ask, though, why did Jesus die? The answer must include something about him taking God's wrath and judgment on our behalf. The message of the cross makes very little sense if we don't understand that we need salvation from God's judgment. Jesus died on the cross not principally to show us what love looks like. Of course, it does show us what love looks like. But principally, he died as what's called a propitiation, one who takes wrath for our sin. Tim Keller writes, Jonah did not go to Nineveh just to quietly do social work. He preached the threat of divine judgment loudly in God's name. When Paul begins his letter to the Romans, the famous book about the gospel, he begins with God's wrath. In Romans 1:18, he writes, "The wrath of God is being revealed from heaven against all the godlessness and wickedness of people who suppress the truth by their wickedness." It's the wrath of God that makes the gospel necessary. It's good news because it saves us from judgment. It's God's condemnation for our sin that requires Jesus' death, his condemnation on our behalf. Jonah's preaching about impending judgment makes it possible for the Ninevites to repent. We read that, who knows? God may relent and with compassion turn from his fierce anger so that we will not perish. When God saw what they did and how they turned from their evil ways, he relented and did not bring on them the destruction he had threatened. They are saved, as we read in the quote here, from God's fierce anger. We read that God relented. We read that he had compassion and turned from his fierce anger so that they did not perish. Likewise, Christians are saved. If you've received Jesus, we are saved from God's fierce anger by his compassion when we turn to Jesus. So in response, embrace righteous anger. Let's embrace God's wrath as a good thing. It means that he is for what is good and is against what is evil. And surely this is the kind of God that we would want. And this is the kind of God that is good. Let's embrace God's wrath so as to pray and live like we want those outside of the church to be saved from his judgment through the gospel. God bless you.